How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
It's not something we're used to in the IPL. CSK being outbeaten, outclassed, outplayed at the Chepauk. But the defending champions have demolished the five-time champions. And for MS Dhoni returning back to captaincy, that is hard a day that he could have imagined. Nightmare game, really, for the Super Kings. And for the first time in their very decorated history, CSK have lost 5 games on the trot in an IPL season. That and more, as we ask the questions of the Super Kings, what they can do, impress upon the efforts of the Knight Riders on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout in the company of Sanjay Bangar, Matt Roller. Dare I say, it's not done justice to Danny Morrison's debut.
What do you mean?
On the couch.
Okay, sorry.
I would have liked a close game for you to tell us plenty more, but you just like an early finish, don't you? After being at the job for all these years.
It's been very busy. It's been very busy around. I'm not complaining. We do love the Tata IPL and its partying and what have you.
But that cannot feel good, no matter whether you support CSK or not. Knight Riders, well done. But for CSK, they might have had bad seasons, but have they ever looked this bad? Is just the first thing I'm trying to think of. You've done the IPL
What
so
did you
many
mention?
years.
Yeah, 3 on the trot at home now at the Fortress.
Yes.
And you think, well, we're going to start asking questions. Where to from here? And then who do you drop and who do you shift? And you know, you lose your captain like that with an injury. He's gone for the whole season now. That's it. You got to start thinking that top order again shortly. Which Kiwi, which Kiwi batter you're going to leave out and shift?
Oh my! But I mean, who do you leave out is also a big question, because who do you bring in? What resources do they have? Let's just start by what is the first disappointing or most disappointing thing for each of you about the Super Kings? Sanjay Bangar.
Oh, it's hard to put a finger on it. There's so many.
Top 3.
But for the moment, I mean, no batting. They just lack the batting or the runs that they require to win T20 games. Yes, everybody says you require the bowlers to winning games or winning tournaments, but it's also the batsmen who contribute. And at times, for CSK, the contributions have only come rarely. It's the other way around generally, but it's been a really dismal performance from the bat as far as this season is concerned.
Matt.
Yeah, middle order batting specifically. They lost 7 for 20 through the middle tonight. You're not going to win a lot of games in any format of cricket losing 7 for 20 in the middle overs.
But they keep saying that our strength and success was built on top order starts.
Yeah, but that's not an excuse. The power play is a problem, and obviously everything stems from the top to some level, but I think the middle order has been hugely underwhelming, and that continued tonight.
Danny.
Oh, I just tick those boxes and reiterating a little bit about the power play, sure. And something has to change dramatically. And the other thing, I think it's filtered down into the fielding. And some of the catching's been poor at different times, and just in the field. So there's something bubbling away within that dressing room, and it's affecting the outside on the park big time.
Why are CSK looking this bad at home? Let's forget everything else for now. At least they were better prepared for the Chepauk than any opposition team. That's how they built this formidable home record.
They always followed a pattern of picking consistent player. Consistency has been their forte. And even if you look at the number 3 or number 4 who have played them for many a seasons, like last couple of seasons, Ajinkya batted at that position. In the early years of CSK, somebody like a Badrinath did that job really well.
Yes.
So they always felt that number 3 or number 4 we used to set up the game brilliantly, apart from where the top order used to give them runs. The top order always scored runs for CSK. If you think of going back, Watto batted there, Faf batted there, then some of the West Indian players batted there. So they always had the top order firing, a middle order was experienced, and then that flow-on effect would have been, the game would have been set up for Dhoni to come and really take the bowling down in the last 3 or 4 overs. So that was the pattern, and somehow I think they have not really found the right players, maybe at the top of the order as also in the middle order.
I think that middle order one, when they've had Robin, Raidu, of course Raina was a different league because he's one of the IPL's GOATs. But now when you just, I almost repeat myself, but Vijay Shankar, Deepak Hooda, Rahul Tripathi, even Ajinkya Rahane, when they gave new life into his T20 career, have they just not have they tried to take this template too far, thinking it will work? And this has been found out, or have they just not picked batters that are even of a certain batsmanship that some of their previous guys had?
See, if you think of a Raina or a Rayudu or a Robin Uthappa or Ajinkya Rahane for that matter, all of them had enormous success as international cricketers in some case and as IPL cricketers in
others,
some way. So over here, Deepak Hooda and Vijay Shankar as well as Rahul Tripathi, they are good players. They have been playing for a long time in the IPL, but none of them have actually stepped up and played international cricket or proven their worth on a consistent basis at the top level. And that could be a factor wherein when a team is looking for runs or big performances, maybe at the moment they are not able to deliver because of that.
And actually, specifically, when you asked the question about playing at home, that looked like a sort of more traditional Chepauk surface in that it offered a bit for the spinners. And you look at that middle order and you're not confident about anyone apart from Dubé really against spin. So it feels like they've recruited their squad for sort of to try and cover both bases and that they've got a strong spin bowling attack. But then they've got a batting lineup that looks probably better suited to play pace for the most part. I wouldn't say there's many competent players at spin in there at all other than possibly Conway at the top and then Dubé through the middle.
Danny?
Something's got to give. It'll be amazing what does happen. I don't say amazing, but guys that have been performing, talk about international cricket. So something's got to give with the two Kiwis at the top. So what happens there?
The funny part is it's not like they have a Faf on the bench or an experienced international who can come in. They don't even have another batter, if I'm not mistaken. They have Overton, Sam Curran, Ellis.
Is the other one. Yeah.
So there's no overseas batter there.
Can we make a phone call? Phone a friend? Are you allowed to add to that?
They have to pick someone for Gaikwad's replacement, which I will come to in a little while. Let's just hear what MS Dhoni's had to say, right? Quite a few nights haven't gone our way. Need to look deep down inside. Challenge was there, but we needed to tackle it. Didn't have enough runs on the board. Ball stopped. That has been the case. Even in the second innings, it stopped. Today, it stopped in the first innings as well. With quality spinners, it is difficult. I'm sure he's referring to Narayan, Chakravarti and Moin. We didn't get partnerships as well. Power play batting, he says it's important to see the conditions. A couple of conditions where we've done well. We don't want to match somebody else or some other team. We have quality openers and it's important not to get desperate seeing the scoreboard. Few boundaries and the score keeps moving. If we target 60, it gets tough. If we lose wickets, the middle order needs to do the heavy lifting and the slog never comes. Okay, I forgot when I started this now. So I hope you guys are paying more attention to this to help me rationalize what MS Dhoni's first post-match comments as captain back at the job suggest.
I was just thinking this might be kicking a man while he's down, but thinking back to the pre-match comments where he said we're not a team who's going to hit 5 or 6 sixes in the power play, but we will be a side that hit more boundaries. They did actually hit more fours than KKR, 8-4,
Matt.
but they got out hit on sixes 1-10, which suggests to me not a particularly successful evening.
Anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about KKR and then welcome the CSK comments, which I'm sure will come through in the comments. CSK fans tend to join us very often. But let's just talk KKR. That's as ruthless a performance as we could have expected. And I'm sure there would have been some effect, or is it just us, on the players too, that, okay, they've entered the Chepauk on this day, Dhoni's back, whistles and whatnot and all. But they were so professional, Sanjay, one there.
They were professional, they picked the right squad, they were very circumspect of the fact that the mistake that they did in the previous game of delaying Rinku Singh, wait till the very end, they promoted him at number 4. So they clearly are understanding what their mistakes have been. Like in the earlier instances, they played Ankrish in the earlier games.
Yeah.
They sensed, they took a right call to have him on the bench and not necessarily play in the playing 11 straight away when they were batting first. So they are a team which are slowly and steadily trying to learn from the mistakes that they are making, and what needs to be done, they are trying to fill those boxes on the go, and that is always a strategy that smart teams do, because they don't really want to linger on to their mistakes for far too long.
Yeah, spinners obviously is their strength, Danny, but in Vaibhav Arora and Harshit Rana, this is your area, just fast bowlers who complement them quite well. How would you rate their bowling efforts?
Having just been at Eden Gardens recently, again, when you've got the coaches and mentors asking these guys to hit the right areas, whether they're left-handed or right-handed batters they're up against. I was quite impressed with that the other day. So it's about learning, and as much as what Sanjay was on about batting and altering the batting order, it's a bit like that when we were making comment at Eden Gardens because they were disappearing and it didn't go so well in that power play. How about some spin earlier? And then we were a little bit critical of Jinx around that time because you'd love to have taken pace off and then bring those guys back. What's wrong with having 5 different bowlers in your power play? Because you've got to keep changing.
Yeah, Lucknow just took them down in that game, didn't
and
they?
think on your feet because it does. The game evolves very quickly and changes. Whoever's in at the time was got out, so then you've got a new guy coming. This is what he does, and rah-de-rah-de-rah. But I do like what I see in terms of the bowlers and what they can.
As disappointing as CSK were, you sense Rane today was right on the money. Moeen Ali, new ball, set the tone. They never looked like they were in the game, CSK. Today, did you think he was better, Rane?
Yeah, and I also think with someone like Moeen, not just because you're here, but when Mo gets an opportunity, I love what he's about because he comes in with all his experience and he's been in and out of sides, so he knows what it's like. So you've got to take an opportunity when it comes along, and man, did he do it, yeah.
And what I like about Moeen is that irrespective of whoever is batting against him, he prefers to bowl offies because that's the way most offies want to operate when they're bowling in the power play.
That's enough from you.
Is anyone who did bowl off spin today who should have? Yeah. Well, I will. Ashwin doesn't bowl off spin, Mr. Bangar. Why?
Well, I mean, that is a question that he has to introspect because how many times has he actually preferred to bowl the stock ball rather than maybe bowl a slightly defensive line, maybe a middle stump or a leg stump line. But for the moment, I think there was a stat for the previous season as well wherein he's probably bowling far too many carom balls instead of the off spin. And at times, when you start bowling your stock ball more, you at least have protection on the onside. You have a long on, you have a mid wicket. But when you try to mix it up, then you are also giving opportunities to the batter to go through the offside as well.
I mean, I didn't understand over the wicket to Narine as a left-hander. Moeen's off-spin to the right-handers were unplayable. Okay, Tripathi is not in good form and all that. But anyway, I'll come to that in a second. Anything you want to add?
Well, I'd just say on Moeen, I think his strengths when he bowls in T20 is firstly, I think he's at his best when he's actually trying to take wickets, and I feel like that's maybe something Ashwin's gone away from a little bit. I think he's spoken quite openly about trying to defend to attack, whereas Moeen, I think, is always trying to get someone out, and I think he also has that sort of strength of an all-rounder, as you might know, Sanjay, of sort of having that batter's brain and being able to work them out to some extent, sort of thinking, what would I be doing if I were in this situation?
Yes,
well,
Mr.
I mean,
All-rounder.
he's not batting anymore. In 3 games that he's played, he's hardly
Ashwin is batting more than Moeen. Okay.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. Bizarre. On that note, we welcome your questions and comments. There's more to KKR, certainly, but it's such a hard game to rate even KKR's exceptional day at the Chepauk because of how out of it their opposition was. Last season, Jadeja and Dubey, says SBM, were preparing for the T20 World Cup. And this year, it just looks like there's no motivation. Is that a point you would accept?
It's not
or
about
understand?
that. Yeah. It's not about that. We understand that all teams and all players go through these phases wherein nothing works for you. But the thing is that I would certainly want a Dubey to be fielding a lot more because he just comes and bats as an impact batter. And there are other players as well. Like if you think of a Tripathi or for that matter a Vijay Shankar or a Deepak Hooda in the 11 and then Hooda not fielding, clearly you have to give some message wherein today he got cramped up when he batted in that particular innings when he went for those the quick second run. So these small things really matter because if you are really trying to go to the next level or be very consistent at there, you have to have the desperation to keep excelling and in whatever department that you want to contribute to the team.
Walking Alive says, how do you spend 25 crore on Ashwin and Jadeja and expect to have a great season? This isn't 2015 anymore. You're the auction man.
Well, I feel like they obviously spent a lot retaining Jadeja, didn't they, in the first place? Probably more so than the Ashwin. I think he was 9.75. Yeah, it does look a lot. I think in an ideal world, the way that spin attack would be working is those two can contain and Noor can be your attacking bowler. But it does feel like they have spent a lot of money on two experienced spinners there, and that they've not really got bang for it as yet.
Is this reflective of an auction gone wrong? KKR today brought in Moeen Ali. That is a quality player to have, someone who CSK have had for very many years. And as we've pointed out, it's not like we look at their bench and we can see options. This is where I'm sure CSK fans will be thinking, did they need to spend 9.75 on Ashwin, 10 on Noor when you had Jadeja, and so much money spent on spinners, and yet there's no real
I mean, see,
balance.
it's T20 is outcome focused. A lot is outcome focused, and if you think of a Quinton de Kock, he's no longer playing international cricket, T20 cricket, right?
Yes.
You have a Moeen Ali as well, probably, who is in the same boat. You would know better whether he's playing or retired. But there are players who are quite similar to maybe some of the players that are available in CSK squad, like Jadeja. Absolutely value in whatever he does. So yes, I mean, I would say that there are phases, and once you make a decision, you have to live with it.
Okay, there are lots of Jadeja questions over here. I guess I can understand that. Whether he needs to be more at this stage of his career for this CSK team. Retained players, you need to expect big things out of them, especially with the new retention rules. And Danny, overall, looking at how the other teams are, and you've seen many of them, does he strike you as either a pure batter or someone who bowls 4 overs? Because I don't think he's doing either.
Enough, you're right. I mean, and again, we're asking those questions. Is there too much of a love affair with those guys that have been there a long time? And I know there's the nicknames of Dad's Army, and we had that.
Well, when they've won before.
Yeah, correct. And so then you say, how motivated are they? Some guys, and R. Ashwin, he's finished internationally. All of those sorts of things where you still should have a bit to offer. Totally. I mean, and he's a spinner, and we know how long they can last. But only he could ask that for you. How really motivated are you to keep doing it, given that you think about Ashwin as a test player, finished recently in Australia, probably didn't finish how he'd like. So then we're going to ask those questions because, opinionated and want to ask why it's not going well. So from those emotive type things, I wonder, because you've asked that question, okay, and I think that a lot of those guys, you're hanging on a bit too long. Really, how motivated are you? You love what you do, sure you do, but there comes a time, international sport, anything, and you play at the top, it's ruthless. It'll come back and bite you. There's a lovely saying, don't take the piss out of cricket, because it'll take the piss out of you. It'll come back and bite you badly.
All right. Hanish points out that Jadeja was still bowling really well in the Champions Trophy. So what has happened?
I think playing 3 spinners can be a boon or a bane.
Yes.
Wherein you don't really get to bowl the number of overs that are expected of you or that you are likely to bowl. And a Jadeja thing, I mean, in this particular batting lineup, there is a case for him to bat slightly higher up the order. And because he's a good player of spin, he can really bat at number 4 as well, because he runs so well between the wickets. And that could be one thing which maybe Fleming should consider. Like, how about Jadeja batting slightly higher up the order
100%.
and getting a finisher who can really hit the ball and not necessarily just hope that MS will come and do it all the time.
Walking Alive says this, or rather commands me. Shout out to Matt Roller. Great analysis as always. Read this now. Don't ignore it, Raunak.
Thank you very much.
Don't ignore it.
Well, you can thank your mum after the show.
Yeah. So some
I
relatives.
actually sent that one while you weren't looking.
Walking Alive. Morbid choice of account. Anyway, what else do we have? Right, let's take something on KKR. Why is Sunil Narine's spin so timeless and effective? That's a good question. He is one of the goats of the IPL.
Yeah, and it's a guy that had to remodel his action, right? He's had
Yes.
to develop and keep changing. We keep coming back to this. You have to keep changing and evolving, because at times there is. I mean, sometimes he just doesn't look like he's interested, does it? Let's be really honest, brutally honest. At times, just flowing, oh, really? And you're a captain of one of the franchises, or 2 of them? And yet then all of a sudden, bang, he's just all over you. And you think, well, mate, why haven't you been doing that elsewhere? But he's, again, his nature, knowing him well enough, that's how he plays, right? And that's just his persona. But he is a phenomenal deliverer of the cricket ball. Let's not get about the bush of that. Carom balls and wrist and all what he's about.
I'm just thinking of that moment today when the ball He missed the ball at square leg. Firstly, he missed the catch that I don't know how to explain. But then he jogged behind it, almost like he's so annoyed that he has to do this whole fielding thing because he's such a great bowler, and stopped it with his foot.
Yeah.
You must have spent some time with Sunil Narine. He must have given you some. I know he doesn't spend much time in team meetings.
But it's hard to get something out of him as well. That's just not his thing. And it's not whether he's shy or anything of the camera. If you've done interviews, he just, okay, well, yeah, I do this. You know why? Because I can. And it's as simple as that. He just gets on and boom, does his thing.
Well, he's brilliant. He's effective. Now, let's take some more questions. Andy asks, who would you bring in as Gaikwad's replacement?
I would be tempted to go the Prithvi Shaw way.
Why?
Because if Prithvi Shaw is available, he's a guy who has a point to prove. He's been left out. Clearly an India batter of immense talent, ability. And he can be the guy who can, break the shackles, so to say, at the top of the order. Because at the moment, they certainly seem to be strangling at the top.
Has he had a few chances? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I saw him in the under-19, ICC under-19 in New Zealand. I worked on that, and poof, what a talent. But he's had his ups and downs.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Even from his home state in domestic cricket, multiple franchises. You don't see that as a concern or a red flag, as franchises tend to make opinions about players?
I think he's got that bit of a setback in terms of not being picked. Being one of batsmen of high quality, high pedigree. Obviously, last couple of seasons didn't work, but if you're willing to learn, and we certainly hope that he's learned his lesson and putting in the efforts, the talent doesn't really go away overnight. It is there, it is quite evident, and you just have to hold hands at some point, because if you do that, he can win you cricket games.
And it's a classic, isn't it? Because it's been around, and let's not beat about the bush about the 30-foot caterpillar in the room, is that these guys that are so talented, coming from either humble backgrounds, you can go either way. And it's a shame if he is lost to the limelight scenario, suddenly paid a lot of money, goes to your head. Other humans deal with that in different ways. I mean, it's just litany of players, whatever sport, whatever code or background it is, from wherever you are in the world. Suddenly you go from being a young man to then suddenly having all this money and time and wealth, and there's all those trappings when you're young, right? So I get it. It'll be fascinating to see if someone can look after him and nurture that and really look after him and say, do not flush this down the toilet because you're too good a player not to. Having seen what I've seen,
Interesting. They also can actually go for an overseas, which is something you pointed out.
Yeah, well, they've only got 7 in the squad, so they could go for the 8th. And with Gaikwad on a pretty big salary as well, on a retention, they could throw quite a bit of money around. The problem with that is that we've just had the PSL has started today, and that sort of mopped up all of the next best players in the world. You could feasibly, maybe dangle a carrot, but we've already seen Corbin Bosch yesterday got banned for a year by the PCB. A few of the other names I wrote down, I don't know if any of these would appeal to you, Sanjay, as a replacement. Sarfraz Khan as a possibility. I don't know whether he's a...
Don't look at reactions from him. Just read your list.
Yeah, please.
Please
Jaldi.
go the entire list.
KS Bharat in there, Mayank Agarwal, Yash Dul. Any of those?
I think Mayank is a good name there because at the top of the order, and he's had some good seasons, obviously out of favour, but he's a guy who is, in a way, extremely motivated to do well. He's still one of the fittest guy on the circuit, and the desire is burning within him. So he's got a fantastic record, even as an international player. So a very good name indeed. So well done, Matt.
Thanks so much.
Uday Verma is saying CSK should ask Raidu to cancel his retirement.
But he's already played in a couple of leagues, so...
I don't know how the rules work on that. Although I asked Raidu that yesterday, he said, my knees won't allow me. I said, I mean, your entry point can be a little late then.
I'm not sure Cricinfo would sign his NOC, would we?
Let go.
Should hope we book your tickets back and don't keep you here. Anyway, brilliant. All right. Well, that's pretty much it. I don't see a lot of love for KKR in this, but just in terms of the effect of the net run rate, I think that could be big today for what looks like it could be a close. Some teams aren't in it, Danny, but you see net run rate coming into
100%.
the equation almost like every year.
Always does. It's not uncanny. It's just how it is, right? It's how it rolls. And so you can do that and get some confidence. Sure, there's no doubt from this side now, KKR.
And more so because now once you have a 10-team format, earlier you just had 8 teams wherein you could go through quite easily, at least for the 4th spot, if you win 50% of your games. That is not the case anymore. You just have to win at least 60% of your games to give yourself a chance.
Yeah, the net run rate's already very good, 0.8, given that they've won as many as they've lost. And you think that those wins they've had, they won by 80 runs against the Sunrisers. And despite the fact they took a real
loss was a bad
pacing at
one.
Wankhede.
It was.
And
They
yet
got close
they're
the other day.
Yeah, which was...
LSG,
so it's all these things that we sort of look back on at the end of the season when they maybe sneak through on net run rate and think that was actually quite an important night in the season.
Very good. And now that you've worked hard for that, your point of Moeen Ali being the lucky charm continues to go.
Are you got another day off tomorrow?
Right, time for our rapid fire review. Matt, Sanjay, you know how this works. Danny, quick fire review of the game. Let's fire away. I'll start with you, Mr. Bangar. Loss of form, absence of intent, or just wrong selections. What is ailing Chennai's batting the most?
I think I would put it to loss of form and intent. Some of the players like Tripathi were dropped earlier. So was the case with Huda, but they coming back. And once you lose form in a T20 format, it's very hard to get back. So I'll put it a combination of loss of form and loss of intent.
All right, Danny Morrison. Moeen Ali, Sunil Narine or Varun, which Kolkata spinner impressed you the most today and why?
Sunil, back in form, good to see. You have to go with him, it's a no-brainer. Nice little threefer. Did he bowl a maiden?
Moeen was the one who bowled.
Oh, I knew it was.
All right, Matt. 3 for 13 and 44 of 18. Is this the game when Narayan's season takes off properly?
Yeah, quite possibly. It was a slow start with the ball. Had a cameo with the bat already, but yeah, back to his best, I think.
All right, Mr. Bangar, who would you pick as Chennai's replacement for Ruturaj Gaikwad?
Between Prithvi Shaw and Mayank Agarwal.
Right, Danny, KKR losing, winning, losing, winning, losing, winning. Do you see them being more consistent going ahead after this result?
Jeez, crystal ball. It's a good win, there's no doubt. And so we know, we said before, you want to get into a groove, you want to be more consistent. Yeah, I do. I think this could actually ignite their season.
And finally, all of you can take this and have a piece. Is this the worst that Chennai have ever looked in the league's history?
Rhetorical.
You could say no, they've looked worse and think about that time. Right, Matt.
I think it's got to be, doesn't it?
Sanjay.
See, the aura of invincibility has certainly been breached.
Danny.
It's not a fortress anymore, it's 3 on the bounce.
That is as much as you can say without saying any more. Thank you very much to Sanjay Bangar, Matt Trello, Danny Morrison. What a pleasure.
I'll see you again. And everyone goes, oh, really?
No.
Yeah, at the end of the month.
We can't wait.
At the end of the month.
This couch deserves a better game for Danny Morrison and all his years of brilliance. Thank you so much, Danny.
Lovely to be here, gents.
Yeah. And we will have him back soon. Yeah, you can take Matt's number. Coming up, by the way, for CSK, a couple of games away from the Chepauk. May not be the worst thing. They play Lucknow on Monday, and then they play Mumbai here at the Wankhede next Sunday. MICSK, maybe just the kind of game they need. As far as the very efficient Knight Riders today go, they play Punjab Kings at New Chandigarh away, and a couple of home games against Gujarat and Punjab again in the following week. That's what we got for you. Big double headers coming up. So join us for build-up to the afternoon game tomorrow, LSG GT. Timeout will be live just before the toss. So look forward to your company then on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. Good night.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.